All right, let's get right into it. Today we're going to unpack a really incredible cosmological model, one that's hidden in plain sight within prophetic history. We're talking about a perfectly symmetrical pattern, one that suggests the story of our universe isn't a straight line, but a beautiful divine echo. This is going to be fascinating.
So let me just start by asking this. What if the entire story of humanity, from the very beginning to its completion, what if it isn't just a series of random, disconnected events? What if instead it follows this perfect, almost poetic structure, a journey away from a single point of origin, and then a perfectly mirrored journey right back?
Well, the core idea we're diving into is exactly that. It's a divine echo, a 5-stage cycle that flows in a 1-2-3-2-1 loop. And look, this isn't just some abstract sequence of numbers. This is presented as the master key, the framework for understanding the deeper metaphysical role of key prophets, and really the spiritual journey of humankind itself.
This right here, this is our roadmap. We're going to trace this journey together. We start at the origin, then move through formation and a central pivotal trial of purification. And from there, we mirror that path right back through transformation and a final return to the foundation. It's a journey from perfect unity into division and then back to unity once again.
Okay, so let's start with the first half of this loop, the outward journey. This is all about the movement from that primordial single unity into differentiation, into trial, and the multiplication of humanity. These are stages 1, 2, and 3.
Everything kicks off at stage 1, and our starting point is the prophet Īsā, or Jesus. In this framework, he is the origin point. He represents this idea of primordial purity. His element is dust, or turab, which symbolizes the original uncorrupted state before the human test really gets going. This is phase 1, the one, pure, unblemished potential.
And this description, a word from him, that's absolutely key here. It highlights his role not just as a prophet, but as the direct manifestation of the divine command. He is the uncreated made created. And that sets the baseline of absolute purity that the entire journey is going to depart from. So next up is stage 2, formation. And here, of course, we have Ādam, or Adam. His element is clay, tin. This is the moment things change, the moment of the division. Think of it like this, that pure dust from stage 1 is now mixed with water, which symbolizes mercy, and you get clay. This creates the human vessel and right away establishes our dual nature, a pure spirit but inside an earthly container. And with that, the test is officially on. This verse just grounds the entire concept, doesn't it? The formation from clay, it's not just a physical thing. It's a metaphysical event. It establishes the limits, the form, and the inherent duality that every single one of us has to navigate, that tension between our spiritual origin and our earthly vessel. And that brings us to stage 3, the very peak, the apex of the outward journey, Nuh, or Noah. His element is water, Ma. And his function is, you guessed it, purification. This is the trial. The great flood acts as a kind of divine filter, a cleansing mercy that washes away the built-up corruption, preserving only a pure seed of humanity to, essentially, reset the board. So the ark, then, is so much more than a boat. It's the ultimate symbol of preservation. It's this incredible vessel that carries the pure lineage, that seed of submission, safely through the trial of water, making sure that the journey can now begin its mirrored path back to the source. All right, so we've reached the furthest point of the loop, and now we begin the return journey. But this isn't just hitting rewind. It's a corrective mirrored path. Stages 4 and 5 are going to be the perfect reflections of stages 2 and 1.
And here's where it gets really cool. Stage 4 brings us to Mūsā, or Moses, and the element of fire, nar. This is what's called the corrected division, and it's a perfect mirror to Ādam's stage. See, if Ādam's clay vessel began the test of our dual nature, Mūsā's fire represents the mastery over that test. Specifically, it's about taming the fiery pride of the lower self. You know that famous scene at the burning bush? That's the turning point. It's the ultimate act of submission. When Mūsā removes his ego, which is symbolized by his sandals, that fire of potential wrath and destruction is totally transformed into a fire of divine guidance. Pride literally becomes light.
And so we finally arrive at stage 5, completing the loop with Ibrāhīm, or Abraham. He perfectly mirrors Esau's origin stage. His symbol is the tree, shajara, which represents reestablishing that foundational principle of pure oneness known as Tawḥīd.
after that long journey through trial and transformation. This metaphor of a pure tree with a firm root, it just captures this return perfectly. It signifies that the connection to the divine is once again direct, it's strong, and it's completely unshakable. The journey from the pure dust of the origin is now complete. The foundation has been reestablished.
But wait, the loop doesn't just restart. There's a final, completing figure who doesn't just repeat the cycle, but actually synthesizes all of its parts into a perfect whole. This is the seal of the entire prophetic loop. And that brings us to the number 0. Now, don't think of it as nothingness. Think of it as the point of completion, the circle closing back on itself, containing the entire 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 pattern within it. It is the proof of the entire system.
This incredible role of synthesis is embodied by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Now, in this model, he isn't another step in the loop. No, he is the perfect mirror reflecting the entire journey. He embodies the fusion of all the previous stages, and in doing so, completes the cycle of prophecy itself.
And you can see this synthesis right here in action. He fuses the primordial light of Īsā, which represents knowledge, with the purifying water of submission that was so central to the journeys of Nuh and Mūsā. And this fusion, this combination of knowledge and submission, creates the final perfected state. The loop is closed. So, the loop is sealed. What does that mean? What are the implications of this completed cycle? Well, this final section explores exactly what it means for humanity, right here, right now. Well, there's this really powerful idea that the completion of the prophetic cycle, the sealing, coincided with the breaking of a symbolic wall, a wall that once held chaos in check. With the final guide having come, that structured guidance ends, and humanity's final ultimate test begins. So this is the crucial point. We are now in the age of the ultimate test. The broken wall means we're facing unconstrained choice. The external guidance of prophet after prophet is complete. And now the battle between light and pride, between submission and arrogance, has to be fought inside each and every individual soul. And this brings us to a beautiful final metaphor. And it comes from physics, of all places. It's called the Poisson's spot. It's a bright point of light that appears in the very center of a deep shadow. In this framework, it symbolizes the Qur'an, a focal point of indestructible light in the darkness of this final test, proving the path of return is always possible for those who reflect it. So we end with this question, which really takes this grand cosmic pattern and makes it deeply personal. In an age without prophets to physically guide us, with the choice between light and darkness left entirely to us, the model asks, how will you find your own path back to the source? Where in the darkness will you find your point of light?